Welcome, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining this Cosmo Campfire on the Project Health Check, which is a new feature that was released in our latest 1.72 version update. Excited to review this topic. I am your host, Lexi Brunt. I am part of the customer success team. I've been with Aprika a little over just about coming up on 5 years, and in the Salesforce ecosystem for over 6 years now. On the agenda today, we will be taking a look at project health checks, which allows you to assess your projects on a weekly basis and provide a summary to share internally or externally to your client if required. The objectives today, you're going to get our demo going, and if you have questions during the demo, please enter them within the chat. I'll be happy to review your questions and just show you anything that you would like relating to the topic. And then after we're done with the demo, you can enter in any questions non-related to the topic. We can open up for an office hours session. Okay. Main objectives today is to review what's included in a project health check and the new components that are available and how to add them to your page layouts, how to create a project health check, and how to configure the health check to be included in your project status report, and also review how the health check works within the status report. So that's a new enhancement as well. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the demo. First things first, since if you've had Mission Control installed before the 1.72 update, then you'll need to add these new components to your layout, one of which would be the project health check related list. And then there are quite a few new fields to support this feature. So in our weekly status report, we now have the option to include the health check. So we'll go through and update this. And you also have the option to include the accomplishments, your budget RAG, issues, observations, your scope RAG, health check status, and planned activity, quality RAG, resources, risks, and schedule. So you'll want to make sure these are marked true in order to be included within your project status report. So let me just mark a few more of these true as well. And it looks like we also need to take a snapshot of our Gantt chart. All right, so in order to add these new fields to your page layout, the quickest way to do so would be to hit the setup icon. This is more for the administration, and select edit object. Once you get into the object manager for your project, you'll navigate to page layouts and drag in your new fields. I've tried to keep my settings all related to each other in the same section. So I've added these fields to my status report settings, and I've just dragged the items right into the layout. Regarding the related list, in the same component, you'll hit related list and drag in your project health check related list from the list up here. Okay. All right, let's get started. The first thing you'll want to do is actually review the overall health of your project that may be relating to budget, scope, how are your hours being completed against schedule. You might want to view some insights and see, are there any updates to billing? And how are those things moving according to schedule? You also have your cost performance index, your scheduled performance index, and any notes that you want to retain regarding your project health. and how you want to track those things. Okay. So the first thing I'll do is navigate to my related list for project health check. And in this health check is where I will store information. We do recommend conducting these on a weekly basis to include since your project status report is generated on a weekly basis. Okay. So I am just going to enter in a few notes regarding what was accomplished this week for this project. In this example, we completed our user stories backlog. We also captured some requirements from the sales development team and customer success team, but we've prioritized the user stories and scheduled sprint 1 for this project. Overall, the project observations, things are going pretty well so far. The team has been accessible, allowing us to complete the requirements on time. We are also able to track, and we've observed that overall, we are expecting to complete the project within 3 sprints. We've had our weekly review meetings with all key stakeholders, and we'll be providing a project status report every Monday morning. And in our plan for next week, we'll want to get our roles and teams created for the client, configuring the control pad, and focusing on making those high priority user stories a priority, our main focus for the week. Right. So here is where we will mark our overall status review for the project. We have 3 options available: on track, off track, or needs attention. We want to keep these values the same in the pick list. So we do not recommend editing these items, as there are images that are associated with this when it is pulled into your project status report. So overall, I'll say that the project is on track, scope is on track, as well as budget. Our resources are on track as well. According to our SPI, and the details were a little off track on completing our actions according to when they are scheduled, but overall, we believe that the project will be completed according to schedule. There were a few risks raised according to some things that came up in the project, so I'll mark this as needs attention, but pretty much we are on track for the overall status of the project. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and save this project health check, and I'll open this in a new tab. This is a separate object, so you can choose to create your project health checks in a separate tab or from the project health check object directly and just relate it to whichever projects. And as you can see, the rating that I set for overall status and all of my other ratings here have an image associated. So if something is off track, we get the amber color. If something needs attention and needs to be addressed immediately, we get the warning icon, which is red here. All right, so let's go ahead and check out how our project status report will look. I'm just going to go to my Gantt chart and save my PNG image. And then I'm going to go ahead and manually generate my project status report. All right, so everything is as normal, except for before the summary project breakdown, we now have this project health check section where we can include notes about what's going on a weekly basis. All of the notes have been included here. You can choose to hide or show based off of based off of the checkboxes that we marked true in our project detail. So we see the date that this was conducted, the overall metrics, and the ratings according to the rating legend that we discussed. And that is pretty much it for the project health check. Is there any questions regarding this feature or anything else that you would like to see? Pretty easy tool to use. Great for collaborating with your team and clients to stay up to date and keep your project notes all in one area on a weekly basis. All right, we have one question. Can you have just the health check show on the project status report? Yeah, so you can choose to mark all of the other fields false. However, I believe the summary page will still show. So let me go to my status report settings, hide my stakeholders, time logs, risks, issues, change requests, and can't. So it looks like your summary and your overall overview of your project will still show on your project status report. So let's take a look at that when we hide all of the other items. So we have your project status, your health check, your summary still included, and project detail is what's included. You do have the ability to hide these items individually. So for example, if I wanted to hide the data migration milestone and its actions, there's a field on each of these items called exclude from project status report. You'll just go to that record and mark it true. You can choose to hide these items. All right. Next question, is there a dashboard for overall health checks for all in-flight projects? You can create dashboards from the health check object. Since all of the information and data is stored within within Salesforce, you can create a report from the project from the project health check object and pull in whatever data you want to use. Let's see if it's already generated one for me. Project health checks. Boom. So you could say project health checks with projects if you want to pull in data from your projects. And you create your reports, create your charts, and then you'll be able to pull them all into a dashboard. Okay. Next question, is there something in your enhancement request to do a monthly, quarterly roll-up? So to create a date range to pull in the data. So you can do this currently with reporting snapshots, which is a Salesforce feature, where basically you would create a custom object to store the data from your project on in your case, a monthly, quarterly basis. And it'll record what the data is at that point. And then once that's enabled, you can create snapshot reports on the data from your project. So that is currently available. All right. If you hide a milestone from the status report, sorry, I'm getting a couple questions here. If you hide the milestone from the status report, does that update completion percentage to only reflect those that are on the status report. I would actually have to test that out. So let's go ahead and see. And RAG stands for red, amber, green. So red, amber, green rating. Okay, so let's go back to our project and hide a milestone. Oh, let's just see what our overall status was, or percentage. All right, we're at 3% complete, and 20% of that completion is done on the training level. So let's go ahead and hide the training milestone. All right, so we're going to exclude it from our status report. Hit save. Let's refresh. And review status report. All right, so it does exclude the completion percentage if you hide a task. I'm sorry, if you hide a milestone from it. All right, next question. Can these types of reports be generated from the application? So Gretel, if you have certain automation that is pulling the data and analyzing it for you, then you can like auto-generate or auto-populate a project health check. It would depend on the calculations for what is on track, off track, and what needs attention. You'd have to determine what those calculations would be. But this is more of a collaboration tool used to manually update the status. Okay. Next question, if you hide a milestone from the status report, will that also remove it from the Gantt chart? So if you hide a milestone from the project status report, you would also need to hide that milestone from your Gantt chart. So it's all within the same area to exclude it from your Gantt. And then you would want to go back to your Gantt chart and retake the picture while the milestone is excluded. Because once that image is stored, the value that was previously stored is what it will show on your project status report. Now we do have the option to see, we have a field that lets you know when the last image was taken for your project status report. So you have a date of when the image was taken. If you've made the change to exclude a milestone, you probably want to update that image. All right, next question. Can the branding color palette in the status report be customized to match your company's branding? So we do have some enhancements coming for the project status report. Currently, you can change your logo, you can add your customer logo, you can also change this image here. With regards to the other color options, all of these will remain the same. Okay. Next question. I know in our upcoming release, we also have the ability to update the font. But currently that is the option currently for imaging. So there's more enhancements coming later, but currently the way you can customize it would be the font and the logo images, the hero image, and including or excluding different items. All right, next question. How do we check the accuracy of the data? Can we have it at a program level so that we can see multiple projects too, or even all active projects in a particular project category? So in order to check the accuracy of the data, you'll have to drill down into your project and review, okay, if I'm trying to check the scope or how the project is running against schedule, you may want to create reports to determine, are your resources utilizing their time, completing tasks on time, marking items complete upon schedule. You can also use like your baseline dates and other features to review the data in general, depending on what area of the project you're checking. Can we have it at a program level? So currently the project health check relates to your project level, but you could probably I would recommend creating a report or a dashboard as mentioned earlier and pulling the report or dashboard onto your program page layout so that you can see it at a program level. Okay. Next question, is a step-by-step guide available for what you showed us today? Yeah, so we have the 1.72 release notes. So the project health checks can be found here. I like to use Control F and jump to the section where you'll get a full breakdown. You can also see the enhancements from the project status report. We also try to keep our knowledge base updated. So you can see we've already published the article within our knowledge base. And then after today's call, the Cosmos Campfire will be available on here. So you can come back and rewatch this recording after today. And then lastly, back to that 1.72 release notes. We also have a what's called a what's new webinar. So every time we do a version release, we have a video available here that shows how to use the features as well. So that is also available to you. All right, that was the last question that I had open. Does anyone have any questions related to other features of mission control? Or maybe some other business scenarios? I will leave the chat open for another 3 minutes in case anyone has any questions. Otherwise, we will see you for our next Cosmo Campfire. Thank you everybody for joining in. All right, I didn't have any more questions come into the chat, so I will go ahead and wrap up this session. As always, thank you guys for joining and tuning in for our next topic on the Cosmo Campfire next month. Have a great day.